their job to become their own. Stay tuned.
This week, I'm in London. These are best mates, Ben Coolidge, an airline sales manager, and Gray Duke, an estate agent. Together, they want to change the way British men buy their skincare products by starting their own male grooming salon. And to get off the blocks in this cutthroat business, they're selling up their possessions and risking £100,000. That's where I come in. 20 years ago, I started my first business and built it up into a multi-million-pound empire. Now it's my job to help Ben and Gray become successful businessmen over the challenging months ahead. Because if you carry on trading like that, you'll be doing it for next to nothing.
Makes for pretty grim reading, doesn't it?
Tonight, our entrepreneurs want to get their share of a booming new business phenomenon. Male grooming is set to be worth a massive £1.5 billion by 2008, and already some major players are getting into the market. Ben and Gray have got no experience, and they've got a tiny set-up budget, so we're really going to have our work cut out to make a success of this. But the one thing they do have is drive. Ben Coolidge and Gray Duke have had enough of working for others and feel it's time to take control of their lives and become their own bosses.
I just feel I'm at a kind of a crossroad at the moment where, even though I enjoy what I've been doing, I know I don't want to do it forever.
I've got to a stage where I find it very, very difficult to work for someone else. I think what I want to prove more than anything else is I can take something from the tiniest little idea that's sparked in a conversation and prove that it can work.
For the past 2 years, Ben and Gray have been keeping a close eye on the growing trends of the male grooming market. They want to start up a salon they're calling Concept, offering skincare products and treatments for modern men looking for that David Beckham effect.
We're coming at it from a customer service angle because that's what's desperately lacking in the UK.
And if guys go to a shop, they're not actually buying something that their skin needs. Our emphasis is really on the product side with the treatments as, you know, as a backup.
And if they get it right, Ben and Gray believe that they can become male grooming moguls.
So we're planning in the next 3 to 5 years to open up a chain of shops. Then we're looking at, you know, Manchester, Brighton, Leeds, the main cities in the UK, expanding to Europe, the US, the world.
But global domination comes at a price. Ben and Gray are putting everything on the line to make it work and doing anything they can to raise the cash they need. To save on rent, Ben's moved out of his flat and is now living back with his parents in North London. Both Ben and Gray have borrowed money from their families. They've sold their cars and taken out personal loans to raise £50,000 between them. They've also got a commercial bank loan to make up another 50 grand. That's a total of £100,000. It seems a reasonable amount, but the plan is to set up in pricey central London.
It's a huge risk if I've not really thought about if it doesn't work out, because it will be, I don't know how hard it will be, you know, I'll probably regret it for the rest of my life.
Ben and Gray have already spent 6 months tramping the streets of London, searching for the perfect location.
Let's have a look inside, just see what it looks like. It's better than that one. It's quite a quirky space, isn't it? So see how much it is.
Now they're negotiating the lease with a landlord on a place in London's Covent Garden. The problem is the rent. At 50 grand, that's half the budget, and it's going to be a massive squeeze on the guy's finances. But it's a great location. The shop's at the heart of one of London's busiest retail areas, chock full of destination shops selling designer gear and packed with contemporary, image-conscious men. Pitching their idea to me should help Ben and Gray focus on exactly how their new business will attract these customers. Tell me what the big idea is. What's the whole idea behind Concept?
The whole idea behind the concept was, as end users ourselves, we really felt that everywhere that we went or anywhere that men would go to buy the treatments and products just felt traditionally female. It felt, you know, we felt out of place. We felt very kind of like, it just wasn't creative for us.
So we decided that we'd take away the kind of layers of it being intimidating, of it being an uncomfortable area, and we would change that
And
to
put a
what
bit
we
of fun
actually
into it.
wanted.
So why do you think people actually want to come into your shop and presumably spend more money than they'd spend if they were just going to Boots or somewhere?
So I think, number one, we're in the right location. I think men come to Covent Garden because they know this caters specifically and primarily for men.
Also needs to be really sort of unthreatening, doesn't it? Because
Definitely.
blokes would rather go to the dentist than go and buy cosmetics, stroke toilet, stroke grooming products themselves.
So the whole thing that we're changing is we want the average man to feel confident to come in, feel happy about it.
Be
There's
more
nothing
involved in the
vain, there's
purchase
nothing
itself.
girly about it,
So to sum up, you're offering a shop where people can come and buy products, they can get treatments, the service is very friendly and personable, they can learn stuff, but it's also value for money and accessible.
Definitely.
I love the guys' enthusiasm for their idea. They want to make shopping fun, which is good news in my book. But they've gone for a quirky name, which I'm not sure is quite right. Let's see what plans they've got up their sleeves for the interiors.
So this is the flagship.
OK, so have you two got a really clear idea in your head at this moment of how this place will look?
Yeah.
99% there, yeah. OK, so this is kind of the idea of the kind of look of this back wall.
So we're
It's gonna
talking
have the
about
products.
antiqued panels, but we wanted to bring an urban edge to it as well, rather than...
This is more of a country house edge. This is more French
You'll
chateau.
see it once it's done, it's going to look very well.
The ideas you've showed me here, the only question I'm bringing up is whether it's the right look for a man's grooming shop.
Yeah.
They have to get over the barrier of coming in here, and all I'm saying is that something that looks like an L decoration set may not be the best thing to attract them in. The reason I keep on about this is because it's the single most important thing about your
We agree
business.
100%.
Once you've got people through the door,
Yeah.
they'll probably buy something, but if they never come through the door, you won't sell a thing.
I mean, another idea our designer had, which works quite well for the eye care, for example, looking at moisturiser, because I know it's very arty, but we're working
The thing
on
is,
playing with
this
things
is
that
arty,
really-
but it's also humorous.
Yeah.
And
It
I
is.
think for blokes, you need to introduce
People like
some
people
element of
present,
humour. I think you're totally on the right track there. I think you need to, all your products and the whole way you present it needs to be aimed at sort of the normal bloke, as opposed to the Brad Pitt wannabe,
Of course.
and all these sort of ideas, the big sunglasses, the head that's split. Those ideas are humorous, they're clever, and that works with blokes,
Yeah.
I think. Ben and Gray appear to be absolutely convinced about what they're doing and the way they want to do it. For entrepreneurs, that kind of conviction is great. But as with all new businesses, if it comes to it, they should always be prepared to adapt their ideas. I think the positive things are the fact that you're a couple of very energetic, enthusiastic, intelligent guys, and you can use some of the experience from your previous careers to bring into this. I think you've got a great location here. I think you're in the right part of a thriving city. I think you're also going into a market that's obviously got loads and loads of potential. It's now May, and the plan is to open at the beginning of July. To make ends meet, the guys are still holding down their regular jobs. While Gray works as an estate agent, as an airline sales manager, Ben must fly the world by day, then race home to burn the midnight oil working on their business plan.
Life at the moment is quite crazy, but I don't really stop and think about it. Just kind of, you have to just carry on. But yeah, I don't really have any time to do anything apart from, like this is probably the first 5 minutes stop I'll do today. I'll just be busy the whole time.
Ben and Gray are under a lot of pressure, trying to set up their new business whilst juggling their existing jobs. But they're determined to be in on the first wave of the fledgling male grooming industry. Product sales nearly doubled last year, and in London in particular, the competition's hotting up, and I'm keen to check it out. And the first impressions when you come in here, it's a very manly shop. It's all wood, chrome. You've got a great big Playboy book there. On closer inspection, though, you realise that there's an awful lot of grooming product in here as well. The clever thing is, though, they're all mixed in with funky things like watches, with electronic gadgetry, snowboarding stuff up there. It's a real bloke shop, and I think that's really great. Doing some sleuthing and sussing out your competition will really help you succeed with your business. Find out how your competitors are performing by going to Companies House. Their annual reports will help you gauge how realistic your goals are. Be a cyber detective. Go online. Websites can often give you info you can't get elsewhere, from the history of the company to biographies of staff. The web can also give you an insight into what similar businesses are doing internationally. And when you are undercover, don't just copy, innovate. Look at your competitors' ideas and use that information to make your business stand out. It's June, just a month before Concept for Men is due to open. The guys have been waiting to complete on the property, But out of the blue, they've been dealt a huge blow. The landlords decided to sell the whole building to a major London developer. Ben and Gray have lost the heart of their operation. In a desperate attempt to salvage the situation, Ben approaches the developers direct to see if they'll agree to lease them the shop.
Regarding the property, sorry, could you just go through it with me regarding...
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to progress with the letting to you. But I just wanted to be honest with you.
No,
really,
I'd prefer that. No, I agree. Thank you very much for being honest.
Okay.
And we'll be in contact soon.
All right then.
All right, thank you.
That's all right, take care.
Bye.
Bye.
At the moment, obviously, I just feel a bit lost about what we're going to do. Basically, we haven't got a property at all at the moment. We're basically back to almost a year and a half ago. Back to square one.
It's an enormous disappointment. It was a great shop in a top location, and losing it has not only set Ben and Gray back months, but now they've wasted over £7,000 of their already tight budget on solicitors' fees, surveyors' reports and planning consents.
It'll be fine. I don't really try and dwell on it too much. I just kind of deal with it and move on. Otherwise, you don't get anything done. So.
Brave talk. I know what it's like to be caught out by landlords. This has been an unlucky turn of events for Ben and Gray. But it would have been a lot worse if this had happened further down the line. So you really got quite messed around there, didn't you?
Completely and utterly messed about, yeah.
With a lease, there's all sorts of factors. It's worth paying a commercial agent to act on your behalf as the purchaser, and then they can advise you on all those very technical issues which most of us don't know anything about. The other thing is to get a letter of intent from the person selling the lease that they're not going to deal with anyone else within a certain period, say 3 months. And it really just gives you comfort that they're not trying to punt it around to loads of different people. I mean, it is survival of the fittest, and you only become a fit business by having problems to deal with.
Yeah.
What have you actually learnt, though? What are the lessons that have come from this?
While our pride was knocked back a little bit in terms of the rejection of the deal, we've realised that, yeah, we know not to be messed around the next time.
Now the guys need to put a brave face on and get back out there to find another cracking location. This time they hit the streets, determined not to get caught out again.
We've both basically had to take half a day's holiday.
We decided that we couldn't really waste time. We needed to take the day off and just get on with it, because at the end of the day our careers is more important.
After losing money on the Covent Garden site and having to start repaying £1 a month on their loan, they're now down to just 40 grand to find their new premises. They're forced to cast a wider net. But there's nothing that fits the bill or their budget.
Flora Street's too expensive. 27 Shorts Gardens, he needs to phone me back. Lansdowne Road, no. Vigo Street, no.
The guys are starting to panic.
Again, worried because as time goes on, it's not only costing us money and time, but frustration. We're just ready to do it now. But this time next week, I'll be anxious. I'll be actually feeling a bit worried, very worried. At the moment, I'm still just not pushing it under the carpet, not thinking about it.
If they're going to pull this off, they must act fast. So Gray takes the plunge and resigns from his estate agent job and a comfortable 35 grand salary. Now he can devote all his time to finding a property.
It's kind of nerve-wracking because I've never actually kind of quit a job before. I can't do 2 jobs at once anymore. And I just don't have the time and don't have the energy to put into my other career, so it's more important that I kind of release myself from that and do the get on with the business and getting the premises sorted.
However, Ben will continue to keep working at his day job and in the shop at weekends. After 2 weeks of calling agents and trawling property websites, Gray's brought Ben to Mayfair to show him an empty florist shop.
It's Mayfair, isn't it? It's the top in London, top. I'm excited, Joe. I just got a little spark that this could happen.
The rent is £33,000 a year. It's within their budget, but while there's room for the retail area at street level and a treatment room below, it's half the size of the Covent Garden property.
And you could even do, well, whatever font we use, that's so easy to do it on there, we'll just use that.
For Ben & Gray, though, it's Mayfair or bust.
We wanted. So this really, at the moment, is our last resort.
Yeah.
There really is nothing else available. So if this fell through, we'd be really, really worried. It would be really, really critical. So fingers crossed this doesn't fall through, because it will be.
We need this to come off.
This will be terrible if this falls through. I don't know what we'll do.
But Mayfair is quite a different proposition to Covent Garden. It's very much a business rather than retail area, full of banking headquarters, upmarket hotels, expensive car showrooms and exclusive restaurants. These suited and booted guys are not the uber-trendy 20-somethings Ben & Gray were targeting before. The boys will have to adapt their business to this more traditional male market. And right on their doorstep in Mayfair, there's some pretty stiff male grooming competition. And I want to find out what the boys are up against. I really, really like the Harrods male grooming section. It's hidden amongst the male fashion sections, the sort of place that a girlfriend could bring their boyfriend or husband. The whole idea here is to make the process of buying a product really easy, and I think they've achieved that. It's very friendly, it's approachable, and it takes the whole embarrassment out of the process. And just 5 minutes walk away is a well-known, successful salon which offers treatments and skincare products exclusively for men. Walking to Gentleman's Tonic in Mayfair is like walking to a gentleman's club. It's sophisticated, elegant, very expensively done. It just reeks of quality, and that's a great welcome. Just looking at the brochure, it's so reassuringly masculine. They've got a pair of purdes as an illustration. Looking at the treatments, they've got such good names. You've got the Shackleton, the Hemingway, the Valentino. They're all sort of iconic male names. But with wall-to-wall products upstairs and treatment rooms downstairs, this looks worryingly like a larger version of what Ben & Gray have in mind. Being so close to these competitors could work in the guys' favour, because this area is getting well known for male grooming. But the flip side is that they're going to have to punch above their weight from the start in order to pull punters away from these already established rivals. It's the beginning of September, and after being tougher with agents this time around, Ben & Gray have finally secured their all-important premises.
Oh, it's actually on. I can't believe it. Yes! Oh.
I think after everything we've been through, coming here today has just been icing on the cake.
Brilliant.
We are thrilled.
I feel
absolutely
more
thrilled.
optimistic about this business than I've ever felt. You know, we've got something that's unique. And obviously, let's just hope other people think that too. Yay! Throw it away.
And to go with their new location, a new name. Out goes Concept for Men, and in comes a more sober-sounding Duke & Co.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
The boys are convinced. It's certainly more conservative. But they're under the cosh now, so they must crack on with the refurbishment to be open by November, just 6 weeks away.
It's lovely. It's really relaxing.
Next, they need to sort out their crucial product range. And when they sign up for a skincare training course, they discover there's a whole new world out there.
Buzzword, and antioxidants are huge at the moment. You'll hear a lot about them.
You just look at the sheer volume of products we have to cover. It's a little intimidating.
We were quite overwhelmed when we first saw the list of how many products they've got and the names.
This one is great for eyes and around the lip.
Is that got tinted moisturiser in it?
Yeah, it's tinted.
Meanwhile, money is now draining rapidly from the guys' bank accounts. Gray's lost the safety net of his salary, and they're 3 months behind schedule. They're desperate to get the shop open as soon as possible.
Is there anything else you think we need to add on? Just because we're getting close to the mark now, where I just want to make sure...
So far, they've spent 39 grand on rent and legal costs, £30,000 on design and refurbishment, and 16 grand on stock. They've also paid out £7,000 on the premises in Covent Garden, plus 3 grand in loan repayments, making a total of £95,000, with only 5 grand left as a contingency. It all means they'll need to take a considerable £550 a day to break even. And they'll need to work harder in this new area to make sure they're fully geared up for their big launch. You're 2 weeks away from opening, and so far you haven't done your marketing. You need to be planning your leaflets, planning a marketing drop around here, talking to people in the street, having an A-board outside. It is crucial. If you don't market this business properly, you won't make any money. You'll take well below your break-even.
We've done some, we haven't done. I agree with you 100%.
To take 550 quid is going to be quite a tall order.
Yeah.
As an average, 6 days a week. But you don't want to break even, do you? You need to be like taking, what, £1,000, £1,200 a day in order to give you two the sort of money you need to live on. And I would be more than worrying a little bit if I was you about that prospect.
Yeah.
Because the retail climate at the moment is harsh.
The national difference doesn't apply. We're in the middle of all the luxury hotels. I would say 50% of our clients will be tourists and foreigners who are out to spend.
Once you start moisturising, you don't stop moisturising.
You'd be very foolish to think that you are immune to national trends. The boys are right to be focused about their customers, but they mustn't ignore certain sectors of the market. They've got a tough break-even figure. To stand any chance of reaching it, they've got to pull out all their marketing stops.
So these will keep in another place. Purifying cream cleanser.
Now those all-important products. The guys have decided to drop the cheaper ranges they'd planned for Covent Garden and instead have gone for 8 upmarket lines, some costing over £100.
Yeah, bring out the cellular purifying cleansing gelée.
Yeah, gelée.
It's a risky strategy. I think they'd be better off having a wider range and offering more choice.
It is a bit of a gamble, obviously, in the respect of the brands that we're now buying are a lot more expensive for us to buy. So our outlay of stock has gone up. But obviously, you know, we've done very well to negotiate down their original asking. So we brought them down, some of them down by about 30-40%, which was good. But yeah, of course, it's a bit of a gamble because we've got a lot of money in stock, which we need to turn into cash. So yeah, so we'll just have to do a very good job at selling the products off the shelf.
They've moved away from their original idea of attracting the average bloke, which could work here in Mayfair, but means they have to sell fewer items to break even. They've still got to persuade people to come over the threshold and buy them, though. I hope they haven't priced themselves out of the market. It's early November, and the big day has arrived. After a speedy, hitch-free refurbishment, Duke & Co. is ready to open for business. Five months on from losing their first shop, Ben & Gray have done a great job turning these premises around on time and on budget. They've taken on board my suggestions for a more masculine interior while still keeping those fun and quirky touches. And downstairs, they've also secured the other crucial side of their business, the therapist for the treatment room. They've taken on Nicole to offer everything from manicures to facials to waxing off body hair. The guys will pay her a basic wage plus a percentage commission.
This is my first day, and I've basically been organising the entire room and cleaning everything and just testing all the kind of equipment so that I feel comfortable and confident doing all the treatments here. Also, I like the idea of men coming here. They need to relax. They need to feel comfortable. It's not kind of frilly and female orientated. It's very, masculine and kind of almost clinical, which I like. And hopefully the men will like that too.
After this roller coaster ride to get their business up and running, the boys host a well-deserved launch party for their friends and family.
We'd just like to say thanks very much to everyone for coming along this evening.
And thanks for your time and your support over the last 2 years of setting this up, and hopefully it will be a great success.
And it's a big day for the boys' mums too.
They had a passion and they had a dream and they've seen it through, and it's amazing. So all we do now is wish them luck.
But with the party over, the hard work is really about to begin.
And now it's the second part of the chapter, and it's a total different set of challenges and ideas. And I think if we came this far, I always said to Gray, if we actually open, I know we can make it a success, because it's been really, really hard to get just to this point.
This is where the pressure intensifies. Their loan repayments and considerable setup costs mean their break-even is a hefty £550 a day. They need to start making money fast.
So the next few days, it's really us about learning to get it right.
It's the morning of Duke & Co.'s very first trading day. It's been a roller coaster ride, but I'm really glad they've made it. I really want you to savour this moment. You've come an incredibly long way, and now we're actually standing outside your shop. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.
You've done the easy bit. Now you're going to make it busy. Although their shop front is smart, in retail it's vital it jumps out and grabs your attention. I think there's more they could do. Now, I think you need to go very much more masculine in the window just to send out the right signals. You've got this Aston Martin down here in the window, which is great. If it was my shop, I'd go even further. I'd put like a, you know, rugby ball or golf club or just something. The other thing I think you definitely need to get is some sort of A board here. A nice board that says on either side exactly what you're doing. It's all the stuff about mail, listing the products, about the treatments. The thing about an A board is it catches people's attention as they walk by. And it's just another way in which people can understand what this place is about and feel safe about coming in. As Duke & Co opens its doors, there's not exactly a stampede. The guys have both been so focused on the opening that they've put no time aside to do any marketing. If no one knows about you, you won't get any customers.
Maybe 1 o'clock's a busy time. It could be, because there's not actually that many people around at the moment.
So, we need to do something. And the most effective way of getting the word out there at this stage is by handing out promotional leaflets and free samples of those age-defying skin creams. Can I give you a leaflet for a new male grooming shop just round the corner?
Can I give you a free sample there and some information?
It's a new male grooming salon round the corner for all your grooming products, everything you could ever want.
Fantastic.
Looking great.
Thank you very much.
By doing this, you're specifically getting your message and your face across to the people that are going to be using the product. So they can actually find out all about it by reading this.
Which is safe in their own space, in their own time.
They know that you're a nice, friendly person because you've given it to them.
Yeah.
And they can also test the product out as well. So
3 in 1.
Yeah, 3 in 1. There's a huge advantage of doing this. Back at the shop, the leaflets are having an effect. Time to put all Ben and Gray's training into practice and shift some of those products to the well-heeled gents of Mayfair.
We do all the body-related products. So we've got body wash, and this is really, really nice product.
Okay, so on the MB Perricone, you've got their kind of their signature product, which is what you've got on, is that face firming activator.
I would use this and actually just afterwards use something like the Double Duty Face Moisturiser.
And their hard work certainly seems to be appreciated.
I thought the depth of the product range was really good. They knew where the products came from, what the features of them were, what they were made out of. Second to none, really.
Overall, the approach was friendly and not overbearing, so I'd certainly go back. Yeah, absolutely.
Downstairs, Nicole's treatment room is taking its first bookings, including facials, pedicures, and the most popular male treatments, waxing and massages. By the end of the first day, Ben and Gray have discovered that the hard graft involved in running your own business has only just begun.
I'm kind of raked. I'm tired. I really am. But we're running on kind of energy, nervous energy at the moment, and running on kind of adrenaline.
I've never had to stand on my feet for so many hours. My legs are
I will admit my feet are absolutely killing me as well.
And get used to the products. That's been the hardest thing, because we've had some training on some of them, but there's hundreds and hundreds of products, and we've got, you know, you can get mixed up with which is for what, and you're going to come across like you know everything. So you have to, you know, apologise sometimes and make sure, because we don't want to give them the wrong stuff. So it's a learning curve, a huge learning curve.
They're feeling buoyant, but in business, the only true measure of success is money coming through the till. On their first day, they take £380. On their second, £300. And worryingly, by the end of the week, they're down to only £150 a day, a massive £400 below target. Despite this ropey first week's performance, Gray's still in good spirits.
Compared to what we were going to do and be launched in Covent Garden, I think this is 10 times better. I would have had to sell 45 products in Covent Garden at the sort of lower price bracket, whereas I sell, you know, 9 of the higher price ones and do exactly the same. But yet you can kind of mentally think, you know, I wish I had more customers. But yet you do what you would have done with many times more on a cheaper purchase. So that's just the way it works.
After 3 weeks trading, I want to see if they've done any better. So how much did you take last week?
Last week we took I can't remember exact amount, I think it was 2,300.
2,300.
That works out at just £383 per day, still well below their break-even of 550.
It's not been amazingly busy, which you wouldn't expect in the first 3 weeks, but the people that are buying, you know, 90% of them are repeating. They're booking in again next week for treatments, and also the average sale has been a lot higher than we anticipated.
So what's your average spend per head? What does the normal punter in here spend?
We're finding at the moment our average spend is sort of £75 to £90 a head, which is we're absolutely thrilled by.
So how many actual customers are coming through the door on a typical day? 20, 100?
How many customers?
I'm not here, so.
It just depends. Basically, you know, we can have 10, we can have 20.
So on average, you may be getting 10 people in, just on average. I'm just making a point.
Yeah.
OK, but whatever. It's not a huge amount. It's probably, you know, a couple either side of 10. Sure. How are you going to make that leap from being where you are now to making serious money?
Two things we're looking at. One is how to maximise on what people are spending when they come in, because they're not scared to spend, so we have to try and maximise that. The other thing is, the more important thing, I think, is just to get more people in.
I'm glad to see that after my last visit, Ben and Gray have taken my advice and altered their window display. But I still think it's not making enough impact. I think they're missing a trick. The treatments, linked with selling the products from upstairs, could be the guy's greatest money spinner. I don't think you're pushing the treatments enough. I don't think it doesn't really say treatments to me in that window. I know you've got a tiny little sign down there that mentions the word treatment. But if I was just walking past, I'll see all the bottles and potions and stuff, and I'll think, yeah, OK, they sell creams and all the rest of it. I wouldn't know about the treatments. You need to sell that much harder. My other idea, which I mentioned to you last time I was here, and you haven't done anything about it, is getting an A-board out there. Every other shop up this road has got an A-board, and you haven't. You can have the best shop in the world, but unless people are coming through the door, it's a waste of time. Time for me to seek out Mayfair Man and do some market research. So how much would you actually spend every month?
20 or 30 quid.
Get a bottle last a couple of months, our size of 10 or 10, 20 pounds, something like that.
It seems that despite being in this well-heeled borough, many of these men wouldn't consider forking out on pricey products. So where would you get your moisturiser from?
You know, like places like Tesco's, as well as, you know, supermarkets and stuff like that.
Maybe for one of the big department stores.
I'm helping some guys up the road open a shop selling a huge range of male grooming products.
Right.
Do you think it's somewhere you'll actually pop in and give it a try?
I'd look in the window at. Whether I'd have the bottle to go in, I don't know. I think us men need educating, don't we?
As a final test, I sit outside on a busy lunchtime and count 107 people walking past Duke & Co. in just 5 minutes. But not a single person goes in. Unless Ben and Gray get things moving over the next few months, they'll have a serious cash flow problem. And advertising what Duke & Co. is all about is the only way to do it. But getting a major PR campaign off the ground will be difficult when the guys are leading separate lives. After taking 2 weeks off to get the shop up and running, Ben is back full-time at his airline sales job. Until the shop starts making a profit, Ben feels he must keep his salaried job. It's not quite the lifestyle he'd planned.
It's much easier, I think, to get involved in one project. When you're doing two things, it's quite hard to take that hat off and look after that and then do that and then do that. I think it's more stressful. Even though I'd love to work in the shop as well, obviously, to get to know the customers and start to get to know how it works. You know, I'm going to work in the shop on weekends, so I'm going to work Saturday, Sunday, so I'm going to be working 7-day weeks, probably, you know, so, which will be difficult, but because it's, you know, because it's your future and because it's what you've planned for 2 years, I think you just make do. So I'm not too worried. I say now it's not a problem, I'll be working 7-day weeks, but I'm sure when I do, I'll be quite tired.
Back at the shop, it's a very different story from Gray.
I just realised now how much more happy I am in this career than I was in my previous one. This is just perfect at the moment. So I'm quite happy. And then also there's the added incentive that I think, well, you know, if I sell this, it's money in my pocket at the end of the day and Ben's, so you've more incentive.
It's now early December and the streets of London are heaving to the throng of shoppers preparing for the Christmas retail frenzy. But at Duke & Co, this seems to be passing them by. The place is virtually dead. On a really good day, takings nearly hit break-even at £520, but can nosedive to as low as £90. At Christmas, a shop like this should be bringing in 3 times normal takings. I've done a few rough calculations to give Ben and Gray a picture of Christmas present and future. What I've done, I've taken your November trading figures and I've worked out a profit and loss throughout the whole year based on your current level of turnover. Basically, what it shows is that your cash flow is going to go down, 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 and down, and down, and go up slightly at the end of the year, leaving you with £1,600 in the bank.
Okay.
So basically, if you were to trade the whole year on November's level of trade, you'll make £1,600. So it's not that healthy, and I just think it stresses to me the need to get on top of marketing, the run-up to Christmas, generally letting people know you're here. Because if you carry on trading like that, you'll be doing it for next to nothing.
Makes for pretty grim reading, doesn't it?
But with Christmas around the corner, we could change Duke's future in the pull of a cracker. Hi there, can we go to Regent Street? Exploiting the festive season could be the answer. Christmas shoppers will spend, and the boys have just got to stand out amid a sea of competition. I just thought it was worth coming down Oxford Street, because this sums up Christmas retailing in the UK. There are just so many people down here. There is so much money being spent. This is such a battlefield amongst the retailers, trying to get the money from people's wallets. So you need to think of ways of making people come into your shop this Christmas. We must plan a hard-hitting strategy to get the Duke & Co till ringing. The guys need to get inspired. Now, there's certain things I think you need to do straight away. Okay. Firstly, the look of the shop. In my view, it's not eye-catching enough. You want people just to walk past and get the message in a flash. And at the moment, they've got to really think, oh, what's that? Is that a fair criticism?
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, a lot of our customers like discretion and are very, very discreet people.
Putting a few Christmas decorations up isn't going to interfere with their discretion. You need to grab them, bang, like that. One other really important thing that I think you need to do straight away. You need to gift wrap the items.
Good idea.
Have a look at this. Now, this is a box for a gift voucher. Stylish, it's cool, and it makes it look like a valuable present as opposed to just a bit of paper. You should sell 5 times more vouchers in December than you sell any other time of year. You know, not only are you taking money, you're introducing a new person to the shop, so it's great for 2 reasons.
Definitely.
I reckon as well we should do some really good PR. I think we need to get the Duke & Co name on the radio, in magazines and in newspapers. In London's West End, the Christmas shop window is an art form and has a significant effect on getting people over the threshold. I want Duke & Co to do the same, so I've brought in visual merchandiser Craig Hepworth.
Just by using gift boxes and things like that, you know, you can prop them up so things aren't just sat flat. I like the La Prairie box a lot. I like the jet black. Yeah, the La Prairie is good merchandising as well. That was really good. Very good.
The guys take on board my advice about gift wrapping and the gift voucher boxes.
Cool.
And finally, they create the more eye-catching exterior I feel they need, with some topiary and at last an A-board. But it doesn't stop there. We organise a festive photo stunt for the press. Happy Christmas, everyone! Merry Christmas! He's got the idea. It doesn't get more Christmassy than giving London's hard-working Santas a spot of well-deserved pampering.
That is just beautiful.
We also need to target businessmen working in the surrounding offices. They're ideal customers for Duke & Co and right for becoming their regular client base. So to give them a taste of what they're missing, Nicole and I visit the offices around Mayfair, offering free 5-minute desk massages.
Very tight.
How's that feeling? Is it good?
Wonderful.
And if these guys really want to make it as male skincare gurus, a phone-in on Radio London is the perfect opportunity to gain fans as well as publicity.
Because men do have this thing, this theory, that they do not feel able to pamper themselves. I don't know where that comes from,
basically, at the end of the day, it's now become the opposite way around. It's macho to moisturise.
Oh, wait,
that's
the
news there,
yeah. Who started that? Which one of you started that one?
We did.
With 1 week to Christmas, the guys are getting their marketing act together. But it's not a one-hit thing. It needs to be a constant, coordinated effort. Trouble is, Ben's still working at the airline. How does Gray feel about you coming to work full-time?
I think he's just a bit worried that, you know, I might have to take a salary as well. It was always decided that my job was more flexible, so it seemed more sense for me to, you know, because I can work in the evenings as I do.
And I think if you took 2 or 3 weeks off and concentrated on the PR, sorting out some direct marketing, going around to offices with Nicole, you could boost your takings considerably.
Yeah. I think you're right.
But can you take that time off? Will they let you?
Well, I'll find a way.
But Gray tells me that as well as working in the shop, he wants to be involved in the PR too. I've recommended that the boys divvy their work up. Gray's a good salesman. I think Ben's got the knack as a marketing and PR person. I think Gray's got other ideas though. I worked with the same business partner for almost 15 years, and we had different skills and abilities, and we split our work up accordingly. I think that's the secret to a good business partnership, and that's what the boys need to do. It's now the new year, and I want to find out if my ideas for a shop facelift and our big Christmas marketing drive have worked. Tell me how the all-important Christmas period went.
Oh, we had a fantastic Christmas, we can't lie. We had sales beyond all our expectations.
It was slow at the beginning. The first 3 weeks of Christmas, we were like, ooh, we hadn't had that real rush that we thought we were going to have. It was just a kind of a normal, slightly better than usual. And then the last 10 days, it just went crazy.
So how much did you actually take in that last Christmas rush period?
When the last 4 to 5 days, just literally running up to Christmas, we took just under £5,000. If it hadn't have happened, it would have been a different situation.
Yeah.
If we didn't have, you know, if we'd made 2,000 in that last week,
we'd have ended
been
up
very
pretty overdrawn.
Just so I've got it clear in my head, what's the current breakdown between pure products and the treatments?
Ballpoint figure, probably about 70% of the pounds come from someone coming in and having a treatment and then buying a product, as I would say roughly, as opposed to about 30–35% who just walk off the street, buy a product and never come for a treatment.
I mean, that's an important fact, because it's showing the treatments are a very, very significant part of this business. And I think you are making an inroad into convincing people in this area to come in and buy your products, but you're still some way off your break-even. You've still got to take a few more pounds each day. What happened to the idea that we discussed a few weeks ago about you packing your job in and actually doing the PR marketing yourself?
I can't...
That's...
No, I can't talk...
Not going to talk about that.
Okay.
Something's happened, but I can't talk about it yet.
It's not a topic. Right,
I can't confirm what's happening, but I'm very close to possibly knowing something, so...
Right, OK. Well, it's pretty clear that Ben and Gray have still got a few things to sort out in their business relationship, but they're obviously well on the way. They need to keep pushing those treatments that account for 75% of their sales, and they need to capitalise on that successful Christmas marketing campaign. It's been nearly 3 years since Ben and Gray had their big idea. They've gambled a hell of a lot over the last 8 months and hit all the highs and lows of starting a new business.
46, I told you. That's my lucky number.
They've juggled day jobs, slogged around the clock, risked the safety of secure salaries, and finally launched their salon, which they hope will be the first of an empire. Now it's time to unlock Duke & Co.'s future. I've called in super accountant and top business analyst Julia Chanteray. She's going to go through the books in fine detail, do a comprehensive stocktake, and draw up a 2-year business plan. Julia's calculations will determine Ben and Gray's future. You need to increase the potential level of money you can take, and the best way to do that is by getting another treatment room. That seems to be the most popular thing. You'll soon reach capacity downstairs. I think you need to anticipate that and build a second room.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do that. Definitely.
We've worked out the best case scenario. So this is if you sort of increased your sales every month, got the product sales going, got the therapies going, you could take a total of £273,000 this year.
Well, as they say, show me the money, that looks fantastic.
Very good turnover. And then at the end of the day, you'd have £77,000 profit left.
Okay.
in a
which
year.
is pretty good. You know, I think that's good.
I think it's kind of what I was expecting. I thought exactly what you said is what I'm expecting. It's got the potential.
I must admit, this is the first time I've seen Gray looking serious and mildly stressed, but I want you to make sure that he's stressed a bit more often, because it's only by being a bit stressed. It's only by being a bit more stressed that you're going to achieve your target. Ben and Gray have been on a pretty steep learning curve over the last 8 months, and they've taken some hard knocks. But now the blinkers have finally come off, I think the prospects for Duke & Co are looking pretty good.
With zilch experience as hoteliers, what do they have to do to hack it in the Premier League? Risking it all, next Monday night at 8.